You're on.
Okay, this is the second phase of the rod that we had originally started. The blank's been painted, the grips have been put on, the reel seat's been functioned. Now, what I've learned in over 45 years of building rods, the custom builder can tune the rod according to the way the guides line up and the rod is functional. You can, as you can see, the rod fits, it's set, it's ready to go. This is a short butt for cranking. As you set the guide, there's a formula to set the rod and to set the guides. You work the formula out according to the way the rod bends. All you have to do is smack the back of the butt and you'll see the wiggle in the rod. That determines where you're going to put the guides. So what you do is it's all set up. You slide it into your turning device. This is an automated thread wrapper. You take a ruler and you start at the tip. The most important thing is, if you're going to build a custom rod, you want a ruler that's brand new, because this doesn't move. You start at the tip and you measure. You have 65 inches. This is a 7-foot rod. On a 7-foot rod, you want to set the guides at 5 inches from the tip is your first guide. 10.5 inches is your second guide. 16 inches is your third guide. 23 inches is your fourth. 31.5 is your fifth rod. 40 inches is the sixth, seventh, and your eighth one is at 50 inches to give you the 15 inches you need. Now this micro guides and the new concept rods is a different formula. What you do is, once you have your baseline set up, you come back and you split the difference between the two guides. You put a second guide. You come in and you split the difference. You put another guide. So forth down the line. That will determine your guide setup. Now, with the micro guides, the guides are so small that you must be very careful when you're wrapping them. You can get it. This is a 4mm guide. If you look at it, you want to come in and measure the ring and make sure it's 4mm. And there it is. It's 4mm inside diameter. Then, and this is the part that a lot of people in production rods leave out. You hold the guide and you take a file. And you file the guide tip. What you want to do is create a ramp for the thread to go over the top of the guide and it doesn't leave a bulge. because if you have a bulge in the thread, which you see on a lot of the rods, the guide will come loose. So that means the guide is not set on the rod. So you file it till you get that ramp. And it's a zero transition from the rod to the guide, and it'll wind itself up. On a lot of rods that are production built, the time is not taken. That's why a custom rod is so expensive, and you have to look at the choice between having somebody build you a rod that's for you, that will work for you, or going into a store and taking one off the rack. It doesn't matter what kind of fishing you're doing, from crappie fishing to giant tuna fishing. The rod will make the difference in the way you fight the fish. You want to fight the fish. You don't want the fish to fight you. You want to bring the fight to the fish. The stiffer the rod, the more work it's going to be on you, and the rod's not doing its job. The limber the rod means the more it's going to bend, that's more pressure it's going to put on the fish to pull back. It's always going to want to come back. A stiff rod is going to lay there and you have to hold it back. And that's where the fatigue comes into. Holding a rod, a heavy rod, you will fatigue faster than if you're holding a rod that fits you comfortably and is in the light. You can take, and we can start wrapping rod guides. That will be in the segment number 3. We can start wrapping rods and go from there. But always remember, a custom rod is like a piece of furniture. You want it to fit you comfortably. So make that in your mind the next time you go to buy a rod. Does it fit me? Is it comfortable? I'm going to be standing here for 8 hours a day holding this rod. I want it comfortable.